Hey everyone, welcome back to another bonus episode. This is our second interview bonus episode, and I'm joined today by Nikoli from the Penance RPG Podcast. How's it going, man?
Oh, not bad. How's yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. We are a little bit... No, I was going to say, I don't want to edit this. So
You don't want to edit this? Oh, fuck.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. That's the whole point of these bonus episodes, is that, minimal
I have to be more careful what I say then. Oh, fuck, okay.
No, I'm good. I don't know what I was going to say. That was my normal manner of being like, I'm good, but, but... No, it's all good.
Fair enough.
I'm on holiday. I'm off work for another week or so. So it's a lot of chilling out and trying not to stress about podcasts and stuff. But it's all good.
Detox week.
Yeah, a little bit. Although that's mainly because I've run out of Call of Cthulhu that we've got recorded. So I know I've got a couple of stressful days coming up where we're recording in about a week or so. And then I've got a gap of about 3 days to put together an episode from whatever we record on the weekend. So it's fine. Yeah, no stress.
3 days. That'll be fine.
And that's going up a week after this episode, the interview goes up. So that's fine.
Oh, Christ. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah. Now we've known each other for a little while, haven't we?
Yep.
About a year or so.
Yeah, we first of all, I think, met when we were doing the Dragon Meet 2017, where I had been signed up to do a DM session. I didn't even realise I was meant to do until 2 weeks before a couple of weeks before Dragon Meet, and then I had to panically book a train to London.
It was a little bit before that, though, wasn't it? I mean, that was the first time we met in person, but...
it was the first we met. I think before that... Was the DM Summit before that?
Yeah, it was the D20 Summit. Which the short-lived project, but we met some good people through that. I think was the at least
we got good contacts over that.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's still online. I mean, we recorded 2 episodes.
We recorded 2. One never reached the light of day because we were waiting on something. I don't really remember who it was.
Oh, yeah. We were waiting for like an extra little bit. But I did edit it and I did send it to... I can't remember who was uploading them on the feed at that time, whether it was Thane or whatever. But I know I spent hours editing it and it never went anywhere.
Who was it that paid for the hosting for that?
I think it was Kai from Wizard on the Wind.
Okay. Because I just remember someone saying, I'll pay for the hostage and everyone can chip in. Or buy me a drink at Dragon Meet or something like that, and I was like, "Yeah, cool, man. I'll meet you at Dragon Meet." And then I don't think I ever did. It folded something chronic.
It was a shame because I think it was a good idea to sort of have a sort of meeting of an audio meeting of various DMs and players. Once a month. I think was a good plan.
Yeah, it was interesting. And I remember there was like anyone wanted to submit some questions, and I remember I spent like 55 hours just like writing random questions and submitting them, and everyone's like, yeah, those ones are good, the rest are crap. I'm like, yeah.
I vaguely remember the whole question thing because I feel like it was sort of the question was raised of like, okay, so what are we going to talk about? And then like I went to bed or something, I got up the next day and it was you submitted like 5 separate sheets of questions, and I was like, that pretty much covers everything.
If you ask me to go and research and come up with ideas, I will come up with lots of weird and wonderful ideas.
Yeah.
But the problem is no one else submitted anything.
Well, yeah, I was going to, but then I kind of looked at it and I was like, well, this is kind of... You've kind of covered everything that I was going to say, really. And it was like 5 episodes worth of different topics and things, which was, it was good. It had us set up well on that, but like I say, it's just a real shame.
It was a shame it fell through, but, maybe future we can...
Yeah, I've still got that episode too. We could put it out as a bonus
5 years
episode.
later.
Yeah.
Where are they now? I think at least half the podcasts from it are dead, so...
Yeah. The server's still active, though. It's fine.
Oh, God.
Whoever's still active, it'd just be me and you talking. So yeah, no, that was kind of where we first started talking, wasn't it? And then after that, it was kind of a general chatting, and then we were all at Dragon Meet together.
It was Dragon Meet, and then did a one-shot at Dragon Meet, and then I think the next time I spoke to you properly after that was I was going to run Curse for the group, Curse of Strahd, an adaptation of Curse of Strahd.
Yeah.
For the group that we did the one-shot with at Dragon Meet.
That was it, wasn't it? Because originally Jason from my pod was going
to be Jason from your pod, the two girls from Lore Maidens, Karina, you, and Belry.
I do remember at least even with when we had the Curse cast put together, you'd Karina was on the original episode 0 of that, wasn't she? Sort of with
she got she even got her name recorded in the outro.
Yeah.
And then I had to contact Leonida and say, sorry dude, she's pulled out, and he was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
These things happen though, you know.
Her name in it, and he's like, I'm like, sorry man, and he's like, ah.
The perils of putting together a podcast. But and then we did. How long did we do Curse for? It must have been 6 months, right?
Oh well, Curse. Yeah, I think it was about 6 months. Curse lasted. It was It was 18 episodes originally, and then we did a couple of weird, like, what did you think of each episode, and we talked about it.
There was a couple of them because there was like a part 1 and part 2, and then
I think it was 23 episodes, but that does include 2 episodes of literally all the bits I cut out of the tangents I cut out and everything, which I didn't realise I would have almost 2-hour episodes worth of tangents.
That's a lot of tangents.
It's in the final, like a bonus episode.
How much of a percentage of that was Belry?
And most of it was Matt, actually. Most of it was Matt and his things, like I did, like when we did the mic checks, and it was like what your favourite podcast within a podcast.
Oh yeah, those mic checks. We had like half-hour mic checks, which is
yeah, they were meant to be 5 minutes of just like what's going to happen, and then they ended up being this bizarre bonus content I ended up saving and then just put them all out at the end.
I mean, I enjoy them, don't get me wrong. But it was one of those things where I was just like, a couple of times, like, I'll be there and I'll be like, guys, can we play the game? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. The usually a tangent with Belry is something related to something whimsical that's happened to him.
And he's the king of the.
It'll be something like, today he bought some shoes and they were the wrong colour, and so he went to the back, and then this huge elaborate story will just spin from how he bumped into someone trying to buy shoes, and you'll just be like,
he's the king of the story that starts with something like fairly, mundane and that, and then it never ends where you think it's going to go.
Oh yeah, or it has such a flat ending that you just have to laugh.
So while we're on Curse of Strahd, then, I mean,
yes,
I feel like we're going to jump around a little bit. I should probably say, as with listeners will know, with our previous interview with Lexa of Dead Horse Podcast, this isn't exactly going to be what you'd call a formal interview. It's more of a kind of casual chat about gaming and podcasting and stuff. But so we're going to jump around. That's my excuse for not starting at the beginning and stuff. So while we're on Curse, then, so obviously Curse was as an adaptation of Curse of Strahd.
Yeah.
So what gave you the idea of running like a D&D module and kind of adapting
basically it just started that I joked to someone that what if I bought this book and then rewrote it in a different way, so it actually made sense, because all I'd heard from people is that Strahd is this sort of elaborate storytelling method, and I was just like, well, maybe I'll get it and have a read of it. And I remember reading it, and it was things like, there's fog, and the fog can do this and do that, and I remember posting on Twitter about it, saying this is a load of bullshit. And people calling me out saying, well, if you're not going to respect the source material, and I was like,
just taking
maybe
stands.
I rewrite the whole thing. Yeah, so it's just me. I like taking stories and retelling them in a different way, in a sort of more character-based way, and a more like, it should be the hero's tale. The world around them should shift and move with them. It shouldn't be the world around is rigid and then they move, if you know what I mean. It should always just be like, what do you see from their perspective?
Yeah.
Which is why the version of Curse of Strahd we did is much more like, it's much closer to what do the heroes experience. Like, you experience, for example, like the things you see, like, for example, even the end battle with Strahd, where it's just like, you fight a giant swan rather than Strahd, because you're just lowly sort of nobodies. You don't matter.
I would say spoilers, but
all the way through the book, it's like, you're meant to be these like magic heroes that Strad knows all about and watches all this and that, but you arrived in a prison cart in my version. So it's like, you are nobodies. You've broken out, you're still nobodies. You go through and you're still just these ragtag group of people. You don't matter in the like world effect the longer it goes on, you know what I mean? It's like, you're still just this random band of people.
Yeah.
And even though it goes through and you start like taking down things and doing things and shit happens, it's much more about your story. And even though you're impacting all of this weird fucking shit that happens in Curse of Strahd,
it always felt like your story. Strange.
Yeah, but always felt like your story. It never felt like this is the tale of Barovia and these are the heroes within it. It felt like this is the tale of the heroes and Barovia is just the backdrop.
I mean, hero is a strong word when it came to our party.
You know what I mean, though.
Yeah, no, I know what you
mean. You always felt like everyday adventurers, and that's what I always like about it. That's my sort of storytelling style, is I will tell the tale of these heroes, and then their reactions will shift. Happens next, rather than this is the world, and this is just little bits, and yeah.
I mean, there was a bit of a sort of change of pace then from, because how many episodes of the original Penance series were there's like 75 episodes or something, right?
Yeah, we had 75 of that series of that, which was entirely homebrew.
So it's a bit of a change to go from, all homebrew to, I mean, like you say, you Strahd was adapted, you made it your own kind of thing. But to sort of go from something that was entirely your own to like, okay, we're basing this on a pre-written book.
It's kind of what we always do, really. I mean, Penance RPG came about literally because we were all gamers and we used to all play World of Warcraft together, and we were in a guild called Penance. And while one of the raids was lasting a really long time, we were all kind of bored. We decided that we would do some RPG online together. The problem was half of us didn't have enough money to buy any books. So I built this simple RPG engine, and it required no books, nothing. All it required is you just to be on, and then we go from there. And we found a dice bot because none of us trusted Graham, to be honest, with his rolls. Genuinely, that's the reason why we all just did.
That's a good enough reason to. If everyone can see the dice,
none of us trusted Graham because it's Graham. So we built this, and then we did. I think it was 20 episodes before we thought about doing it as a podcast. We just recorded it.
No recordings of those at all or anything?
Well, we recorded them, but the first 20 episodes of Penance RPG they're weird because they were literally just meant to amuse the folk in the guild. They weren't meant to be released. They were meant to just be this, fuck it, let's record it, let's have a laugh doing it, and if anyone else is enjoying listening, because some people were saying that I'd really like to hear it, but I don't want to take part.
Yeah. So you recorded it and then put it up on on Google Drive or whatever, we were
going to put it up on
Guild.
Originally, the plan was to put it up on Facebook, but then we realised Facebook has a limitation of how much size of file you can put up, so we're like, fuck it, we'll just put it in a G Drive.
Yeah.
So we put it on a G Drive, and then folk were really into it, and then we got to episode 20, and it was episode 20 went up, and a lot of folk were saying, yeah, I really actually enjoy what you do. And we were like, Ellie kind of was like, oh, we should do this as a podcast. And I wasn't sure why we should do it as a podcast, because I was like, yeah, it's entertaining, but did anyone actually want to fucking listen to what we do? And how it was meant to work was I was meant to do just the writing and DMing, and that would be it. And she would do the music and the editing.
Yeah.
And full disclosure, Ellie has long since the part of the podcast, so that's
I think listeners will know that. Well, listeners to Penance will know that. That's been a while.
But Ellie lasted about 10 episodes, then I began to help with the editing, and then after, I think when we started in like February, I think it was, in 2017, and then that went fine, and then I think it was just the turn of last year, start of 2018. Well, December 2017, start of 2018, that Ellie decided that she had uni commitments and she couldn't basically commit anymore.
Yeah.
So I'd gone from just DMing to I was pretty much doing most of the base edit And because I knew Ellie would have to leave to go to uni at some point, so Ellie eventually left and went back to uni, and she completely left podcast, and I ended up doing all the editing, and it felt, when we got to the end of episode 75, it felt, this is a point that we can stop.
Yeah.
Because we were doing effectively a mini-series of like 15 episodes each, which had an arcing story arc and stuff like that.
It's a kind of like a sort of season sort of thing.
Yeah, but when it got to the end, like Ellie had been, I think Ellie was episode 60-ish. She was in the first couple of episodes. And then when it got to the end of 75, it's like, you know what, let's start something new.
Yeah.
Because Ellie's not going to be part of it anymore, and it's like a sort of closing that and reopening, starting something new and fresh, rather than having to something that's still got 2 or 3 people that were not really going to be able to commit to time, and it felt better to start a new project than to keep going with that.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a good time to sort of, I say, kind of reform. I don't know, that's not the word, you know what I mean though, but sort of like, we're going to carry on, but we're going to tweak it, we're going to change the cast, we're going to change the format a little bit. And
at that point I'd been doing, because I'm a lunatic, I had been writing and editing original Penance RPG and Curse, and recording 2 episodes and editing 2 episodes a week.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a lot of work.
Yeah. And when we finished that one, Belray did a 6-episode series of Call of Cthulhu, which he wrote himself, and he was really happy with, even though he'd only written 5 episodes, and he had to panically write the 6th on the day.
Hey, look, as someone who's running Call of Cthulhu at the moment, I'm very much sympathetic with the whole, like, you're on the front of the train trying to lay track as you go. Hopefully that doesn't come across too much that might be a bit too much of a peek behind the curtain of our current Call of Cthulhu series. But
but no, I learned a lot from the original series of Penance. I mean, don't get me wrong, I learned to fucking edit very quickly because I had to. Because I like, this is going to sound bad to Ellie, doesn't mean to, but literally Ellie told me a week before she was leaving that she was gone. So I had a week to learn how to edit. The
real quick sort of like, oh, by the way, now you have to do everything.
You learn quickly when you get shoved in the deep end. But I learned a lot from the original series, because the first couple of seasons were literally just, I'll write something like a few days before. It'll probably be a one-shot kind of thing, but it'll be weird story and it'll tick on everything. And then we got to mini-season 4, I think it was, and I'd written this bizarre arc for the entire series, and although I felt it was okay, it went okay, I felt that it didn't work it didn't feel as Penance RPG should. It felt a bit too story heavy and rigid.
Right. A bit too based on like what's happening rather than who's involved.
It was a bit too trying to keep the story ticking rather than let them be their usual anarchic selves. So when we started season 5, I tried to go back to a bit more of that, but
I mean, this is the thing you kind of you learn as you go, and I think over like a 75 episode run, I mean, you're gonna get better at certain things and realize like what works and what doesn't work. And I mean, where are we now? We'll be coming up on 2 years of Pretending with Dice in May. Yeah, end of May, and like we're still at the moment. I mean, look at my calendar. We won't have hit 75 episodes of story episodes at that point. I mean, we'll probably have. I mean, since I've started doing these bonus episodes, we are now weekly, which hopefully our listeners are enjoying.
Hopefully so.
Yeah. But yeah, the pace you were putting stuff out was, I mean, like you say, you were putting weekly episodes up, and then at a certain point it was Curse as well.
And we're still doing bi-weekly, because we're about to start going bi-weekly again, because we've got a best, which we'll come to shortly, I'm sure.
Yeah, but we'll get to that, I think. But
the big thing is that I'm crazed insomniac, so I literally will go, I can't sleep, give me a project to work on, and I've got quite a high work ethic, so I'm like, I will do 2 edits a week, and it will practically kill me, but I enjoy doing it. Like, I will honestly say, and if anyone has ever asked me, they will know this, I hate editing.
I know, yeah, you've not been shy about that sometimes.
It's a blunt honesty, I hate editing. Editing's the worst thing I have to do, but if I have to spend like 20, 30, 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week editing to get it to the stage and the sort of thing I'm happy with, then I have to do it. As much as it will drive me fucking insane.
I mean, your episodes are long as well. I mean, when we record, I mean, because we didn't, obviously, we did Curse, and then I was in Plummet. Well, I'm still in Plummet. That sounded weirdly like I was making some kind of announcement there. I'm not.
This is a way to tell me.
This is a really long way around to tell you I want my Mondays back. But no, I'm there. So we did Curse, and now I'm on the Plummet cast as well. I mean, our recording sessions are, you go minimum 2 hours each time for one episode. Yeah. I mean, again, a peek behind the Pretending with Dice Curtain, we'll play for like 2-3 hours, and then I'll make multiple episodes out of that. So and then you're doing that twice a week. It's
yeah. I mean, there was times
a lot of work.
There's times the Penance episodes would be like 2.5 hours. I think the worst Penance episode we ever recorded was 3 hours long, and it cut down to like 2 and a bit.
Well, I remember it was the final one that you put up of the Halloween project, but it was like the pilot, wasn't it? And that recording session was like 3.5 hours.
The worst recording session, worst editing session we ever did. Because I'm a fucking lunatic, and I part of me regrets the fact that I agreed to do this. Out of the blue, someone approached us and said, "Hey, can you do a one shot because we're on Kickstarter?" And we went, "Yeah," because seriously, if you come to us and say, "Do you want to do this? If we run a one shot, would you be interested?" We'd love to do it because we always do because we're really up for all that kind of shit. So if you don't want our cast to run anything, please just let us know. But they came to us and they said, "Hey, can you would you be interested in doing a one shot?" We went, "Yeah." When? And there's like, "Oh, well, we can do your Monday recording slot if you're free," because we told them when we did it, and we went, "All right, okay, cool." It lasted 5 hours.
I mean, that's a long recording session in anyone's book.
And the problem is, like, it was like 1:00 in the morning, and he was still doing the story, and we're like, we're all fucked. We're used to like recording for like 2.5 hours, if that.
Yeah.
This is like hit 4 and it's still going, and you could feel everyone around in the recordings a bit kind of like, I don't care. I want to see the end of this story.
Yeah.
But it was really, really enjoyable. Don't get me wrong, we loved doing it. But we didn't know how long it was going to be because we thought it was going to be like a 3-hour window. It's not. It was a lot longer. So it got to the end of this 5-hour recording, and I think it was things like 5.5, 5:15 or 5.5 hours in the end.
Jeez, like as you know, my editing brain is like you're giving me anxiety from a 5.5 hour recording that needs editing. Is like
so we got this done, right? And I was sitting there afterwards, just going like, all right, I'm exhausted, and I'm like, how long are you on Kickstarter for? I think at this point, I think he was like, it was either 14 days or
about halfway through the campaign.
It wasn't much longer than a week, and I'm like, right, so if you guys want this to give you much promotion, I need to get this done in like the next few days. Right, okay. And I got it edited for that Sunday. But it was literally the longest slog of an episode I've ever... I think I was editing an episode of fucking Curse at the same time.
Oh, man.
Because I am insane. But yeah, we got it done, we got it up, and it went down really well. A lot of people really enjoyed it, and the Kickstarter was really successful, and all the best for it and all of them. But it was just, I don't think it's just the combination of none of us were ready for how long it was going to be.
Yeah,
and then I wasn't ready for how long the edit was going to be, and it was just hard week.
So lesson learned there about maybe at the start of those things going like, putting like a hard out on it or something. Yeah.
Well, the other problem is that you're in a group with Belry.
Oh yeah, so tangents happen.
And Belry will get sidetracked by the simplest of thing, and then I'll join him, and then everyone else will be like, we don't know if where you're going is relevant, so we'll kind of come with you, but be very prepared to run the other way. And you're just like, oh no.
Yeah.
And you can just hear in this guy's voice just like, well, I've got this. It's like when we were at Dragon Meet and we ran that one shot with the guy from D and Dice.
Oh, and yeah, and we were all knackered because we'd all travelled all day.
We don't want to be this tired, we're sorry, but why is it still going?
I mean, that was it. Well, we should tell the whole story on that. So, we obviously went back to Dragon Meet for a second year, a couple of months ago. And I think we were all pretty tired, right? But, like, you guys had Amy had the furthest come, but she flew, so I guess,
Yeah.
a little easier than 6 hours on a train or whatever.
So we got down there, and then we recorded the final episode of Curse.
Oh yeah, I forgot we did 2 games that night, didn't we? Yeah,
we did because we decided that because we put Curse to bed several times and it kept getting back up.
It's like, that's the end, and then we're going to do these extra bits, and then we're going to actually do another bit.
Yeah, but what we decided to do in the end was, because, well, we thought everyone was going to be there at Dragon Meet at the end of the year. I was like, well, how about if we do a sort of, I think it was 15 years later, I said?
It was something like that. It was a while.
Yeah. It was like a certain number of years after the effects of Curse and like what had happened to Barovia, just so we get some sort of like after effect closure, so we can go, right, everything's done, doors shut, it's done. And what happened was we recorded the first episode of these, and it was really good. It was really fun to have everyone back again for one session. And then on the day, a week before, Matt told us that he couldn't make it.
It double booked or something, hadn't he?
He double booked himself to go to a spa.
Yeah.
To rest up before. Was it rest up before his wedding?
It was something to do with his wedding. It was like a sort of. Yeah. I think it'd been given this isn't relevant really to the story, but it got some spa package or something, I think.
Yeah, he was so happy with a spa package, but they counted it, so we didn't get Matt. And then we turned up on the day, and the problem was we turned up on the day, and we just, like, me and Dragon had just come down from Glasgow, so we'd taken this, 8-hour train journey, which was ludicrous.
Yeah.
Amy had flown down, but been stuck under delays trying to get out of the airport.
Well, that's going to happen if you go to Luton.
You turned up fine, I think.
Oh yeah, my train journey was less than 2 hours, and I just walked into the hotel.
Yeah, Lexa was fine. She turned up confused to all hell. Belray had promised me he would be there for 5 o'clock recording. So your plan originally was do a 5 o'clock recording. Everyone has done it. Everyone can sort of go and do their own thing. We can have maybe an hour or two off, and then we can do anything we want to do in the evening. But Belray got delayed.
Oh yeah,
mainly because he couldn't be fucked getting up. And then he was like, I'll just get a train on the day, and he ended up being, was it 5 hours late?
It was something like that. Like, we were originally meant to record at 5 and we started about 8 or something.
Yeah, it was something ridiculous like that. But yeah, that was that. And then we got a message a couple of days before Dragon Meet from the folk who sponsor us, which is D and Dice.
Feel free to plug.
Oh yeah, D and Dice, fantastic dice, dice for all kinds of heroes. Even though we made up that tagline. Fuck it, it works.
Ain't nothing wrong with a good tagline.
Yeah, well, we made that up for the Plummet. Yeah, we made that up for Plummet, but it's a great tagline. They should totally use it. But yeah, we got contacted by D and Dice and just said from Grady at D and Dice, who just said, "Hey man, I'm coming down. What you guys do in the evening? Do you want to run some D&D?" And we went, "Fucking A." So they turned up, we helped them get stuff set up, and then he was like, yeah, we'll go and do that. But the problem is, everyone, because they've been waiting around for Belray, was really fucking tired by the time the evening recording came around.
I think it must have been 10 o'clock at least by the time we started D&D.
Yeah. And as I said, I think everyone expected it to be like a 2-hour, 3-hour thing.
Yeah, just a fairly quick one shot.
I think it got to 1 a.m. and he started taking minis out, and we were just like, oh fuck.
Yeah, we hadn't we'd just spent an hour with minis on the table on this map and that, and then it was like a puzzle room or whatever, and characters were dying, and then he was like, well, we've got another map yet to do. And
all I remember from that was Belray was obsessed by drinking tequila sunrise.
Oh, he had a lot of them.
He had so many of them, and people kept coming up to talk to me.
Don't get me wrong, they look nice, but we're in the middle of a game where we're all shattered.
D20 Future Show came up to talk to me, and I was kept getting distracted by what was going on, and every time I turned around, Belray had left them in another tangent. And I was just like, okay.
I think the mistake was playing D&D in the bar. I think we can all agree. It was loud and there was alcohol right there. And we were all, it wasn't like we were on a round table. We were all kind of along I don't know. I don't think it helped.
Table, yeah.
But there was nothing else to be done.
I couldn't hear what was going on half the time.
Yeah. It was fun though. It was good. I had a laugh.
It was great fun. I really enjoyed doing it. I just really wish we'd started earlier.
Oh yeah, I think that was part of it. I mean, I think it like if we hadn't done the curse recording, we probably would have been all right.
I think if we'd got there, or Bellray'd got there in time, and we'd had even like an hour of downtime, we probably would have been fine. But yeah,
we did a lot of one shots.
You had that weird shower in Novotel, didn't you? That didn't work.
My shower.
Was it your shower that didn't work in the Novotel?
No, I had a shower.
Was it your shower that like ripped the skin off because it was so powerful?
No, it was the opposite. It was like I think because this commented about it. Like I had like a weirdly strong flush on the toilet, but like like the shower was weak as hell. And then I think I brought it up to you guys, and you were like, "Oh, this is the exact opposite."
Yeah, ours was the exact opposite. It was the shower literally could rip skin off. It was like crazy powerful.
Whereas in my shower, I was like having to like kind of creep basically to being exactly underneath the thing, and like where I've got long hair and everything. I was like, I have no idea if I'm going to get all this shampoo out because the water was just like dribbling out basically. And I was like, oh, okay, but it was like I'm here for 2 nights. It's not worth complaining,
Yeah.
But
it was weird. It was weird.
It was good. I think we made good choices by getting hotel rooms this time. I mean, you guys got hotel rooms the first time, but that first year in 2017, where Jason and I went up on the same day, the day of the con, we got a train at like it must have been like 6 a.m, and we basically went straight from the train to the con floor. We were there. Well, no, we were there till after
walking in, and you were just like.
Yeah. Well, we were there because we played with you guys in the evening.
Yeah.
And then we were like, okay, we need to go get this. I think we had put specific trains, and like I knew we were playing in the evening, so I was like, okay, we can either get a 10 p.m. back or 11 p.m. back.
Yeah.
So I think we ended up on the 10, but it was by the time I got back, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning because it was, I don't know, last train or something from Waterloo was just packed and we're stopping everywhere. And so lesson learned. Don't go up on the train on the same day unless you live like 5 miles from the con. But, how on earth did we get onto that?
We had to get the train down. It was just, at least we didn't. I mean, 2017 when we came down, the problem we had the day after was our train got cancelled on the way back to Glasgow, so we had to get on this packed train.
Ooh.
So we lost all seat reservations and everything because we're on this packed train, and it's just like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I mean, we were on the same train as Bellray, and Bellray ended up getting off the train early so he could get another train later on because it was just too big for him. He just couldn't deal with it.
Just like not. I mean that's it's a smart choice if he doesn't mind waiting around. But I suppose with you guys, you had such a long journey to get.
It was literally like stowed out from London, and this is going to Glasgow, and you're like, fuck this.
Was everybody going the whole way as well? Like,
I think everyone's going the whole way, but it's a full like proper several almost 10 carriage, I think, but it was just properly stood out because all the trains from Euston, I think it was, had got cancelled.
Right. Okay.
I think it was every single train got cancelled, and they just told everyone to go to the other station. So
not ideal, really.
Just nuts, absolutely nuts. But this time was far easier. I mean, yeah, just.
But we got the Curse one shot done.
Yeah,
as well.
Curse one shot was fun.
We also we got to play. You ran that. I mean, it was vaguely based on the plummet system. I know when you cracked out the injury table, I was like, oh, I remember this.
That was a fun we ran this one shot, and even up till the day, I kept changing my mind what story I wanted to run with it. I knew vaguely what I wanted to do with it, but I like the plummet system. We haven't talked about plummet yet, but
this is good. We'll turn it into a segue in a minute.
Yeah. Okay. But
I'm a professional interviewer.
It was we decided at the Dragon Mate to run this survival style. You come and meet an old friend who hasn't spoke to you in ages, and he's found this artifact, and then the world starts falling apart. What do you do? And yeah, it was great. It was yourself, Amy. Barry was playing fucking Donny Satchel.
Was he playing Donny
Pockets? Sorry.
No, he was playing Donny Pockets, because me and him were in the Coriolis effect in the day we're running like a tournament thing with Forbidden Lands.
I heard about that they wouldn't let him use his donkey as a weapon, and I felt really bad for him.
Well, he'd rolled it in character creation, and he had no weapons. So like, I did feel real bad, because like we just rolled characters like we were playing a normal game, but then the game we were actually playing in was just like a combat tournament. So yeah. Oh well. But we got Donny Pockets out of it, which later became Danny Satchel. So
Danny Satchel, yeah. Good Danny Satchel. So we ran. It was that and Bellry, and then it was the dude from RPG Kitchen, which is another great cause. If you want to go and sponsor them, he wants to try and raise, I think, raise $1 million for to feed the hungry.
I think that was it. Yeah.
Homelessness. It's something.
I think it was just to feed the hungry. I think it was how it was.
Yeah, it's raising $1 million for that. It's a great cause. But yeah, he's a really decent guy. We've been chatting to him on Twitter for a bit since we pretty much started. Then you've got the dude from Hercules Game Studio, which I can't remember the name of because I'm useless with names. But he was fine. He was just like, he was really calm all the way through the recording, just like, yeah. And then we had Nuno from, I think he does gaming in London somewhere, and he does Portugal stuff as well. Did a convention in Portugal, I think it was.
I know he mentioned that to you, as we were finishing up. It was a good guy, I think.
He was playing this Cuban, and it was just fucking crazy. the whole game was crazy. It was just brilliant. It was. I
enjoyed seeing his reaction and the reaction to the other two to just Bellry, but like us doing just doing because we three of us obviously were on the Plummet cast and we were all on the Curse cast, so we just kind of fell into our normal like let's do weird stuff kind of routine.
I think the only problem I had with that, if I have to be honest with the whole thing, was Amy's character was playing this lazy sort of glutton character, and she just did anything when all she did was ask, can I eat that for everything?
It was tough though, because you were playing like a 7 deadly sins kind of thing. That was an interesting system. I think
it was 7 base stats, the 7 deadly sins, and if they got certain over this over a certain score, and then certain things would trigger them. Like for example, if they were in a room and there'd be like money or a vase or something like that's value in the middle of the room, if they had greed, they'd be triggered and they'd be more likely to interact with it than if they didn't. And if they saw a bed, they'd be more like, if they had a high sloth, they'd be more likely to go lie down and sleep rather than actually do anything. It was another one of these bizarre engines that I came up with on the fly just to strip it down.
I enjoyed it, but like it was tough because I think I had really like mine was like defined by like I had a super high envy, and I was like, how on earth am I going to play this in like a one shot? So I just had it be like anytime anybody picked up anything, I would just be like, oh, I really want that. Give me that.
It's just an idea. As I said, it came to me randomly, and I came up with it, and it worked really well as an engine because literally it was just, you take 5 minutes, you write this, you roll these, you're done. Start.
Yeah, it was a fun system. What was my character? Was my character called Eddie Murphy? Not that one though. It's like something like that. I think that was the joke.
Yeah, I like designing like basic RPG engines where you just basically like roll up in 5 minutes and you can start. I don't get me wrong, I know there's a place for serious D&D engines, serious RPG engines, but I just feel that when you're trying to get people into gaming and you're trying to do one shots and stuff, people who don't know, the faster you can get into the game and the more simple you can make it.
Yeah, I mean, it's quick to get into. Well, like you say, that system we ran on that one shot took us 4 or 5 minutes just to quickly just roll up 7 stats.
I mean, Nuno took it to Portugal because he asked if he can borrow it, and I was like, yeah, go ahead. And he took it to Portugal with him, and he ran it in Portugal and the convention he was at, and he also taught someone it, and they taught someone else it. So it just went around that way. So yeah, it's so easy to transfer, so easy to learn, and it's just as I said, just get into gaming. Don't spend your time worrying how do I build a character sheet. You should just well, how do I build it? Roll these dice or do this thing, and then that's you. Yeah, just, as fast as possible.
I mean, I don't know if this is maybe. Okay, let's segue this back to the podcast then. So all of the podcast episodes are run using these sort of. It's not the same 7 Deadly Sins system, obviously, but systems that are your own sort of homebrew creation. Yeah. So did that come after obviously, like you say, it's quick to get into and just quick to roll, and pretty much everything's
as I said earlier, I made the original system as a sort of just let's get into gaming as quickly as possible, and the original Penance RPG. When we did Curse, we did a stripped down version of the Curse of the Penance RPG version for the one shot. I remember vaguely going through character sheets with you and the girls from Lore Maidens, and you were just like, "These are a bit simplistic. Is there something I'm missing?" And I'm like, "No, it's meant to be."
I think what it was at the time was I hadn't played any of your systems before, and I was so used to, stuff like full D&D, and we'd played like which is simple compared to putting together a character sheet for the Star Wars game that we run on the podcast and I'd run previously and stuff. So I was used to like, okay, if you're putting together a character, it's going to take a little while. Sort of thing. So I think it was just a case of wait, no, is this it? No, not in like not a knocking it way. It was just like a kind of like, have I missed something sort of thing,
Yeah. I mean, like I did it for the Halloween project as well, which was another one that we did. Spent look, here's a simplistic thing to start, and everyone was like, I got so many weird and wonderful responses from people just going, "Am I doing this right? This looks too easy." And I'm like, "No, it's meant to be done in like 3 minutes."
Yeah,
and they're just like, just like, yeah, you just think it's straightforward, it's simple, it's just this, and they're like, "No, there must be something wrong here. Therefore, I must do it all." Or the ones that was like, put 15 points across this, and then they put 15 points per section, and you'd be like, "No."
Yeah,
messaging them saying you've done this wrong somehow, and they're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, I mean, I think people get used to their systems though. That's the thing. It's sort of if you've played, and a lot of people have played just D&D, and that's it. So it's kind of breaking people out of that sort of bias of like, okay, all I know is the D&D sort of way of doing things. It's a bit of a push out of a comfort zone sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, like, for example, I used to run D&D for a group of folk who, like, Susie, for example, was part of them, who's part of the Abysscast, who, it was literally just, you have strength, dex, and int. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing else. And you don't need anything else than that, because everything that they do is either, it's a strength check, as in lifting heavy objects, moving heavy objects, it's a dex check, as in you're doing something like fine motor skills, or it's intelligence, as in you need to think about it. There's nothing else you will need to play any kind of fucking D&D, because that's all the skills you need.
Yeah.
If you want to be more advanced, then you can put like, secondary stats and all that stuff, which is fine. But like, I'm a big fan of Cyberpunk, but the problem with Cyberpunk is that it's got, I think last time I looked at Cyberpunk version 3, I think it's either 20 or 30 base stats.
Ouch.
And you're just like, it's things like, it's got, what's your dexterity, and then the other one it's got the reflexes, and it's the base of like, you take this score, you half it, and then you add this, and then you add that, and that gets you your reflexes, and that's different from dexterity because of
yeah, well, we ran kind of into that problem. I know it's not the same game, but similar sort of vein when we were doing Shadowrun, because that is the most impenetrable rule book and character creation system that I've ever seen. Like, the rule book's full of cool stuff.
I love my Shadowrun rulebook, but I've only read like about a couple of pages of it, because I've flicked through and this is a really nice rulebook, and then never read it. Oh yeah,
no, it's a real nice rulebook. There's some really cool stuff in it, but putting together a character is the most, tricky, sort of complicated. It's never explained clearly anywhere. There's stuff that you need to do at one point that comes back in later, but isn't ever mentioned again. And we ended up. I ended up downloading like a custom program to put together a character, and then we got to it, and Jason just was like, "Look, I'm just going to get a pre-gen." I was like, "Why didn't I just get a pre-gen character?" Like, I spent hours on this program being like, "Okay, I think I want to do this," and then Jason was like, "I think I'll just do this guy and slap my name on it." I was like, "All right," but it was a fun game. We had a fun time, but that was the most teeth-pullingly tricky, annoying process to put a character together. I had to abandon the rulebook. I was like, I'm gonna have to, at least I can use this program, which was like, I can't remember the name of it. I don't even still have it installed. And even that was like, it wasn't exactly a user-friendly program, but it was more user-friendly than the official rulebook kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, how are you with rulebooks in general? I mean, for RPGs, do you typically read them and then...
Yeah, no, I'm generally pretty good. I mean, I've got a whole bunch of them that are for systems that I haven't even fully played yet, but like I'll pick it up because I want to play it, and that and then I'll read it through and I'll make myself a sample character or two. But just like, God, I don't know, that Shadowrun it was tough going, man.
I mean, personally, there's only one rulebook I will honestly ever say I've read cover to cover. Every other rulebook I've ever had, I've never, RPG book, I've never really read all the way through. I've read bits of, but the only one I've ever read cover to cover was Cyberpunk 3, and that's because I got into RPGs playing Cyberpunk when I was about 21. I've told this story before, but I find it hilarious.
I was going to ask, actually. That was one of my questions I had. I was going to be like, so what got you into RPGs? Yeah.
I always used to enjoy RPG games when I was younger, but when I was about 20-ish, 21, actually, no, might be 19. But yeah, it was that kind of like, I was second year at uni, and my best mate at the time, who was a girl called Cheryl, she used to have a flat in Glasgow in town, when I used to live outside of Glasgow in a sort of small, like, nearby town.
Yeah. So
if I could crash at hers, because I was at uni every day, and she'd just dropped out, but I was at uni every day, so anytime I could just crash at hers. So I was like, great, I don't have to go home. And she was single for years, but there was this guy, I won't name, but
probably for the best. Don't drop any names.
All I'll say is he's in his 30s,
right? Okay.
And he had a thing for her, because as you do apparently.
Humans do sometimes.
So he thought the best way to win her heart was that he was going to run a game of Cyberpunk, and she was going to instantly go, "Oh, you're wonderful, I'll fall for you."
A tale as old as time.
So, so she went, "He wants to run this. Do you mind being a part of it?" Well, I'm not, because apparently it was going to be her flatmate and her flatmate's younger brother.
Right.
And I was like, sure. So we got into it. I really enjoyed it. It was great. But yeah, I don't know how he ever thought that was going to get anywhere with her.
Yeah, I can see the thinking of like, I'm into this. I want to show her that, I care, and also get her involved in my, my interests.
Yeah, so he thought the best way to do it was to make her talk about explosives and exploding like nightclub or something like that. Things with the plot of the Cyberpunk episode we were in.
Some people buy roses. Some people talk about fake C4.
We did that for, I think it was about 8 or 9 weeks, the campaign lasted.
Also, it wasn't just a one-off kind of...
It stopped after her flatmate decided he was going to do... He basically went into this place and he was like, yeah, we'll come outside and my friends will deal with you. So he walked outside with these like 2 big fuck-off gang bosses.
Right.
And he went, they're going to deal with you, and points at me and my friend, and we're just like, no. We're just innocent bystanders, know what you're talking about. Then our flatmate threw his pen down and ran out of the room. He was like, you're meant to back me up, it's not fair.
And that was the end of the campaign.
That was the end of the campaign, because he refused to play after that.
Oh, well.
We were like, okay. And then that was...
But hey, that it kindled your interest in running games and stuff.
Well, it started my love of Cyberpunk. I think Cyberpunk 2, or 1 of the 2. And then, but years later, just out of the blue, I found my copy of Cyberpunk 3, and that's when I read it cover to cover, literally in like 2 days.
Yeah.
And then I was like, fuck it, I want to run this. And then that was from there. But the problem was I looked at it and I went, there's no way in hell I will get people I know to run this. Because looking at it, like, have you ever seen the Cyberpunk 3 manual?
I don't think I've read it, no.
It lost its funding, so all the pictures are action men covered in tinfoil. I wish I was joking, but these like doll-like men. Some of them have got a couple of clothing and like fake moustaches and shit like that, but most of it is like tinfoil.
Because they had no art budget,
hilarious. If you ever get a chance to get hold of Cyberpunk 3,
I'll have to look. I'll see if there's any on eBay or something.
It's dolls covered in tinfoil, all the stuff. I'll send you. Okay, take a couple of screenshots.
Yeah, send me a picture.
But they're just fucking hilarious. Absolutely fucking hilarious. But the general book is really good. It's interesting. But as I said, it's got about 20 base stats.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there like, people I know, I'll say to them, hey, do you want to play D&D or this? They'll be like, that means thinking. Like, So we had tried like running D&D and stuff before. Like we tried this weird game with I remember we were on a Zeppelin.
Okay.
And everyone was just drunk. It just descended into nonsense. So
was that like part of the setting, or was that a story?
I don't even remember. It's my guy I don't talk to anymore, so I can't really find out what it was he actually tried to run. But I just remember that we were on this Zeppelin, and everyone was drunk because we like literally D&D games back then used to be we have a bottle of mead, pass the bottle of mead around, and just get drunk.
It's a bit different from recording a podcast.
Yeah, it was just madness.
I find that I pretty much only play when I'm podcasting now, which is a shame.
See, the thing is, I kind of miss playing.
Yeah.
But equally, I find myself wanting to take the story to like complete right turns of where it's going when I am playing now, because I'm so used to like that happening in recordings.
But we've broken you.
Yeah. Well, I feel like. Well, the thing is, I kind of feel it's a bit unfair to a lot of folk. I mean, like, for example, Dragon had never done any RPGs before stuff we did. And it's kind of unfair for her first experience to be the stuff I write, because the stuff I write is so cut down and streamlined that it must have felt so difficult for her to go from that to, like, here's a rules-heavy thing with all these, like, rigids and lines and stuff that you have to abide by for characters, whereas mine's just, if you want to do it, fuck it, it's fun.
Yeah.
Whereas I dread to think what would happen if she ever got in a group with like a DM that would be like, no, you can only do like these things.
I mean, even when I'm not let's say it's been a while since I've played and not been recording it, but even back before, I've never been that kind of DM myself. I've always been like, well, you can try, you might fail, but like you can give it a go. But like the skills and stuff are going to help you. So like if you're trained in like athletics or whatever, then obviously you're going to have a much better chance of doing like an athletically based thing. But like you can try it if you're rubbish at it, which on the podcast has resulted in some funny moments where I can't remember what the exact skill was they were using, but I think it was right at the start of our second D&D story arc. Two of the characters had a backflip contest to decide something. And the super athletic one screwed it up and face planted, and the one who was just like, yeah, I'll do a backflip contest, just nailed it. So you get weirdly funny moments and stuff like that where it's just like, yeah, you can try it if you want. But
try if you want. It's a great way for DM.
I mean, I think every kind of whenever anybody's starting out as a DM, there's always that tendency, I think, to kind of stick to a bit more of a rigid plan. I think the way things go.
The sort of fear of letting people go too far away, just in case you don't know how to bring them back.
I mean, when I started, the first game I ran was Star Wars Saga Edition, which we've since come back and done an arc on the podcast, and we're going to do a second season this year, which is I'm really looking forward to. But when I first ran it, which was just like with a group of it was like 2 or 3 of my mates, and it's the first game I'd ever run, and I was like, I had all these. This is prior to like the kind of explosion of like people streaming games. So like if you wanted to know what it looked like to kind of, have somebody DMing or whatever, there was maybe a couple of Acquisitions Incorporated games online, and that was about it. So I'd kind of written out all of this. I basically had a script for myself, and then as soon as they started going off and doing other stuff, I was like, oh god, okay, I guess. But then I was kind of ham-fistedly trying to get them to get back on track. It turned out all right in the end, because after a while I was just like, I gave in. I was like, I'm not going to win these arguments with these guys. They're going to do weird stuff. It's going to happen. But yeah.
But, I mean, one of my first experiences of 4th Ed D&D was like that. I was playing, and it was a group, and the problem was that it's everything that made me hate D&D for a long time.
Well, 4th Ed is a problem because it's based on the fact like you basically can't run it unless you're using minis.
Yeah, but the problem was that we'd do something and we'd go and do combat, and it was like everything was fucking impossible to hit, and the DM had no leniency. So it was like, roll, miss. Okay, well they can roll and they've got +8 on all their rolls. And it's like, well, we've got like +2. Yeah, but they've got +8 on all their rolls, and it's like so we were basically getting slowly slaughtered by this group.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, I'm playing the tank. Okay, well, I've got a AC of, I think it was 23 or something like that. AC 23, you can't hit me. Oh yeah, but it goes against your fortitude. My what? Your fortitude. Which is what? 14.
It shouldn't do that.
Right. So
that's not how that worked.
And it's just this sort of gradual sense of just, why the fuck am I bothering? Because like I've got like, I roll and I'm rolling really bad, and everyone's rolling really bad, and I'm like +3, doesn't hit.
Yeah.
And then there's all these you have to do like skills and secondary skills and then daily skills, and they're the only ones that do any damage. And when you finally do hit a monster, and you're like, great, how much damage have we done? You've done like 20 damage to a monster. And then move on. And you're like, well, how much health have got left? Can't tell you.
I think there was a major problem with 4th edition, which I never actually played, but I had all of the books for, because I was I'm going to get D&D. And it was kind of the thing of like, you could tell it was sort of a bit in reaction to, I don't know, I mean, I've heard this opinion voiced a few times, but it seemed to be a bit in reaction to the rise of kind of a bit more of kind of video games and that sort of style. So that was what the whole kind of daily and encounter and at-will powers were. So you ended up with your basic attack being kind of like a little bit underpowered compared to everything else you had.
Well, the basic attack was usually like 1d10 plus 3, I think it was on average, which is your charisma, and which is fine. But as I said, when your like daily attack does like 3 or 4 of your base attack and stuff, and you're like, that's really cool. But then you miss, and you go, well, that's your daily gone. And you're like, oh, great. And then you finally find out that the monster you've had 5 monsters, and 4 of them have got 1 HP, but they're a bitch to hit. And one of them's got like 112 HP, and you're just like, I understand the whole, you're meant to chip away at health pool, it's meant to be a boss, meant to feel imposing, but it felt like it slowed the game down, especially because I found it hilarious because it went around and it was like, I roll, miss. Susie, who was part of that game, rolls, misses. Other girl rolls, misses. Other guy rolls, misses. Back to the girl just before the DM, and all she can do is magic missile. You do 5 damage.
Yeah.
No rolling, nothing. Just you do 5 damage. Move on.
Encounters like that aren't a lot of fun, really. I mean, that's not to say that we don't.
So boring.
That's not to say that we don't occasionally have them when we've been running D&D on this, but with 5th edition, it's a little bit, there's not encounter or daily powers and things like that.
Yeah.
So
well, I've heard 5e's a lot better. It's just,
I think you'd probably enjoy it a bit more.
Dragon meat, so
yeah.
I mean, I think I'd love to look at doing stuff like DMing proper and maybe things like 5e, but I've played stripped down, like streamlined roles for so long now. I don't think I could DM a game where I have to seriously look at stats and say this stat, that stat, this stat, that stat. I'm too busy. People going, tell me what stat you think you'd use, and they go, I think I'd use this, and if they can justify it to me, then I go, yep, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, you can still do that kind of thing. The way I kind of look at it is I just go, what are you trying to do exactly? And then I'll say, okay, so roll this check. So, like, what are you trying to do? Okay, I'm trying to look specifically for this thing around all things. Okay, roll me an investigation roll. That kind of thing. As opposed to them going, can I make an athletics check? Which I'm trying to clamp down on a little bit, because it's not metagaming, but I'd rather them say, I'm trying to do, I want to jump over that gap, rather than I want to make an athletics check to jump over that gap.
Yeah.
Tell me what you're doing and I'll tell you if you want me to make a check, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I do think you'd enjoy 5e a bit more. But
yeah, as I said, it's just trying to get the time to learn it, really. And
I'll run you through a one shot at some point. I'll DM it if you want.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So getting back to DMing then.
That winding way back.
Welcome to the world's worst segue. Plummet.
Yes, Plummet.
You're currently running Plummet. We did Curse, and then the following that was the current series, isn't it? Give a bit of a rundown on Plummet.
Plummet started as a concept because when I'd ran the original Penance RPG, a lot of folk love the sort of homebrew side of it, but they kind of missed the fact that the story kind of was weird all the way through. There wasn't a consistent story.
Right.
Whereas, like Curse, for example, there was a consistent story. It just was a bit,
It was a bit winding, but that was down to us, I think.
I was looking for ideas as to what to do for the next series, and then I realised that I have all these boxes of Descent, the board game, and I was like, that's got a campaign. I could totally adapt that. And so I read through all the campaign, and literally it's bare bones campaign of just, here's a little bit of story, and then here's your thing where your characters do all this stuff.
Yeah, here's the setup for setting up.
There wasn't actually any D&D style story. It was just, here's a small intro of what you need to do, small outro of what happens if you do that, and then there. So as a total skeleton, it works really well.
Yeah, I mean, combining that with your bare bones sort of system.
Yeah. So taking inspiration from the Descent campaign. So basically you've got this like 15, 20 episode campaign that you can just adapt and say, right, well, we'll take this story and these vague characters and we'll do something with it. We'll write something fresh and new, and it's got an overarching story.
Yeah. While
it's also got this complete free will to do what you want. So we took the original Purple Gut engine and I went, I want something where heroes feel like heroes, like there should be a sense of heroism, of the world's unfair. And I don't like doing character death traditionally and stuff, because I said this, if we ever go back to listen to the old D20 Summit episode, I don't like doing character death because I think that, there's no point in killing Joe and then a week later it's Joe the Second or Joe's son of Joe. And it feels bleh.
I think I said it at the time on the D20 Summit as well, that it's fine if it's a home game, but especially when we're recording a podcast, you kind of, I mean, you've kind of turned it on its head with Plummet, I think, because how many characters is Belry on now? But in general, on a longer running thing, you kind of want to get to know the character, especially as a listener, because you're not playing the game. So the one thing that you have is to get involved, get invested in the characters and stuff. And if they're dropping like flies, you don't get a chance to do that, really,
Yeah. The whole point of like, for example, we couldn't do character death and curse.
No,
you just couldn't do it. There's no window character death would work in curse, because if someone died, how would you replace them?
Yeah,
there's no actual reason or method that you'd replace them. It just feels like the characters are there and it's there, sort of huddling against the world kind of thing, rather than it being somewhere that if someone dies, I'll just replace them with, wandering minstrel. I don't know.
Yeah, it wouldn't have worked with the, like you say, the setup and everything was that we'd come through on a cart and just stumbled into Barovia, really, wasn't it? Yeah. So you can't really, well, plus the whole kind of Barovia deal anyway, with the sort of the souls and things.
The soulless and,
so that, having just a random minstrel would have, would have been a bit of an odd addition, I feel.
It would take time for them to gel with the cast, and then take time for that to feel more than just... And although you could do the effects that, a player death would have on everyone else, it just wouldn't feel right. Whereas with Plummet was designed to be, you have these characters, and it's more of a hack and slash, so there will be lots of combat, lots of, you attack a monster, they hit you back, limbs can go flying, how far will you keep going?
Yeah.
And as a concept, it works relatively well. It took a couple of episodes to get into it, but I think after Belry's first character fell down, and
my son, I mean spoilers, but
and I think after we got Human and Human got that scythe, and
that was an issue.
There's times you hear recordings and you can feel the tension of, I don't want to go near that.
Yeah, that was every combat round when it's like, and Human, what do you want to do? And we all just dive for cover.
And it creates something new. It creates something different. It creates more of a organic feel that life is fickle, and characters can just get smacked over the side of the head and they're dead. Death can happen in a heartbeat, and it feels much more like D&D than D&D does.
I think in terms of kind of maybe old school D&D, but I think in terms of kind of just in flavour, it's a nice contrast to, well, obviously Curse before it, and then Abyss, which is starting up. Yeah. The first episode's not up yet, is it?
No, it's not. It won't be up till mid to end March.
Okay, so a few weeks from...
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But, so it's sort of like a kind of a good kind of counterpoint, I think, to that, because obviously the Curse flavour was, like you say, we're not going to go for... there's not going to be player death, because that doesn't really fit with how the whole thing goes. So that was more of a kind of okay, you're with these characters for the duration, whereas Plummet's a bit more kind of frenetic, would you say?
Yeah, kind of.
A little bit more kind of like you never know who might roll a 1 and something bad's going to happen.
Plumet's also got the sort of essence of the anarchy you got in the original series.
Yeah.
It's, Bellry can do his, I'm going to go and waffle off and do this thing, but the difference is that he can do this thing, and he can just get, chopped in half for doing it. It's
well, look, if he's going to play a giraffe.
Yeah, it's when he plays a giraffe, yeah. It's meant to have this anarchy meets disposable heroes style. And yeah, it's something completely different from everything else I've ran, and it stops the whole of this death saves and death saves and death saves and death saves when it's literally just you can roll a 1 on the injury table and hit someone in the head, and then you roll X number and it just kills them outright. I mean, we've had episodes start where someone's just been killed outright.
I mean, I did shoot Leonidas' character in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Not on purpose, and he did die.
Oh, I was speaking to him about this separately, and he was so gutted that he kept getting killed. I'm running out of ideas now, and I was like, "Oh, just come up with something different. It'll be fun." He's like,
"Tell him to stop dying."
Yeah, but he's like, "And there's those bastards that are still on their first character." And I was like, "I'm sure their time will come."
Hey, look, my character lost something very dear to him.
Yeah, his son.
His son, yeah. What did you think I was talking about? No, I mean, we've all lost limbs and other things throughout the course of it. I think it's a miracle that mine and Amy's characters are still rolling, really.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I know Ash's character will probably survive till literally the end of Plummet because she's very careful.
Yeah.
I think there's only been 2 times she's nearly got killed, and it's been very, very, like the time she rolled under the cart.
Yeah.
It's very rare that Ash will have any kind of injury happen to her.
She's got a very prudent strategy, which is let us do all the stupid shit and then just go, and I shoot the enemies.
Yeah, I mean, I love Ash to bits, but Ash took about 35 episodes to get used to how we did the original series.
Right.
And she very much was, the early days of Purple Guy, you can listen, and she was very like, "Hi, it's Ash." And you'd get very little out of her from chunks of the episodes. I mean, sometimes she'd be like a wee bit more communicative.
Yeah.
But most of the time she'd be quite, I don't really know what to do, so I'm just going to stay at the back and be like, maybe. And then when she got to, I think it was when we started doing like the Captain Ash bits, where we basically said, right, you're now in charge of the ship. She became really much into her own and got a lot more confidence and felt she could like talk a lot more.
Yeah.
And it's great to see. But as I said, it did take her a long time to get her confidence under her feet and start chatting. And now she's still got that, but I just think that she's just like, I don't know what to do. And then she's like, I don't want to get my character sliced in half.
I like her character though, kind of like a stealthy tabaxi sort of archer.
She's so terrified I'm gonna roll the number that gets her tail removed. Terrified she'll lose her tail.
Yeah.
But Ash is always the sort of, I don't want to say the sort of moral compass of the group, but she's very much she tries to do the good and tries to feel that everyone should share and everything like that.
Yeah, stays on task kind of thing.
Yeah, the more kind of not corruptible side of the group. She's always going to be like that. She plays it very well.
Yeah. So yeah, we kind of vaguely mentioned it. So we're how many episodes are up of Plummet now?
Up, I think 17 just went live when we were recording.
Yeah. So by the time this goes up, it'd be 18.
Yeah. We've just recorded 21, I think.
That does sound about right. Yeah, and obviously we didn't record this week.
21, yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of episodes in the leeway.
And as you said, Abyss is starting up on at the end, towards the end of the month as well.
Yeah.
So Abyss is in the vein of Curse of Strahd is another adaptation.
Yes, because I'm not allowed free time. Abyss. What we did is at the end, I like having done Curse of Strahd. I feel I've got my confidence to adapt another one. So I said on Twitter, like, what do people want me to do? I offered Out of the Abyss, Prince of the Apocalypse, Storm King's Thunder, and the sort of starter campaign. And I can't remember for life what the last one was.
It might have been Tyranny of Dragons. But
Tyranny of Dragons, that was it. It was the 2-part Tyranny of Dragons and Wrath of.
Oh no, what's it called? Tyranny of Dragons is the first one. No,
And
the first one's Horde of the Dragon.
Rise of Tiamat.
Yeah, Horde of the Dragon
Queen.
Queen.
And, 2 of them together.
Yeah.
And folk overwhelmingly on Twitter said they wanted Out of the Abyss.
Yeah, I think I'd even mentioned, like you'd mentioned it before, and I think I'd even said, I'd definitely said I like Out of the Abyss.
Yeah, I think I didn't want to offer like doing like Tomb of the Annihilation. I have that, but it seemed to like everyone else was doing it.
Yeah, but timing wise, it's
Yeah, I mean, even now, I look around and I can't find many streams doing Out of the Abyss. There's like, I think there's one stream that took 80 episodes, I think it was, to get through it.
That's quite long.
Yeah. I don't think there's many others. I mean, don't get me wrong, that you can't find you can't find Prince of the Apocalypse or Tyranny of Dragons, really. I mean, most people say, I find it hilarious because Tyranny of Dragons seems to be people play for 3 episodes then abandon it completely.
It was the first one that came out, that other than the one in the starter set, I think, and it's got some good ideas in it, but I think it really does suffer even more than, like you say, you found the way Curse of Strahd was a bit sort of unclear as to sort of the path and things sometimes.
It tries to be a soapbox and
sandbox.
I just feel like it lurches left and right and makes you want to take the players and lurch left and right, and it doesn't feel like a overarching story. It just feels like, your players can be upped and moved and down and up and moved and down, and it's more about the travelling, and it just felt, it didn't feel, I don't know, something didn't feel right about it to me.
Yeah, that I found was like, because when I first started with D&D, we started by trying to do the first part of Tyranny of Dragons. And I did find a little bit like that. There was kind of like, the opening is really cool. Like, you come to this town that's being attacked by these cultists and a dragon, and it's the dragon cult. It's the kind of, they're the big bad people in the first half at least, which is a cool opening and that. And then you kind of, chapter 2 is you're chasing them to their hideout. And they're all still in their hideout, and then it wants you to then backtrack to the town, tell some people, then backtrack to the hideout, and they've moved out, and you can go inside, and there's a whole kind of cave system that you have to explore and stuff, and then it wants you to backtrack again to the town, and so there's a lot of kind of I feel like it felt like it was a lot of back and forth, and if I'd have been a bit more of an experienced DM, I feel like I could have folded that into thing, but then I would be doing the thing of having to rewrite the rewrite of the story, basically.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to eventually getting Tyranny of Dragons. Like, I like the idea of...
I'm sure the overarching story is probably great. Yeah, but it just... we got to a certain point and it was just like, we kind of looked at each other and we were just like, should we just not carry on with this? And I was like, yeah, I've got some ideas, I can just start homebrewing.
I like the idea of trying, at least anyway, to do one adaptation a year. I mean, like, we did Strahd last year, we're doing Abyss this year, next year we'll hopefully do one of the 3 we didn't do this year. I mean, I do have the book for Tomb, I have the book for the Mad Mage.
I haven't got that one yet. I've got, because they put out Dungeon of the Mad Mage the same time as Waterdeep.
They put the Mad Mage
Heist.
and Dragon Heist out. I have the Mad Mage book because it was on a flash sale on Amazon.
Yeah, I've got the Dragon Heist one, I haven't got the Mad Mage one.
Yeah, I think Greg bought the Dragon Heist book, so I was like, I might just borrow it off him.
Yeah. I haven't read it yet. I haven't had time.
I've had no look at it. But I think that I like the idea of doing an adaptation a year, because as much as I don't like how they're written, I love the story they're trying to tell, and I love doing my own spin on it. Like, for example, the difference in like Strahd that we did was that Strahd was this snivelling wretch rather than this grand, haha, I am the knight, I am everything. Like, the version I did of Strahd was very much based on like Macbeth, and he basically was this general, and he did like basically sell his soul to become this ruler and get this woman and all this stuff, and he just became this, he was secretly just this, as I said, wretch.
Yeah.
Rather than it being this almighty general that just had this rule of the land for millennia for no apparent reason. But it's because I like putting my own.
I think it was a good spin. I did enjoy it when we were playing it because it was kind of like we'd heard about the sort of the Baron throughout, and then by the time we kind of learned his story, it was kind of I don't think we felt sorry for him, if you know what I mean, because he was still the bad guy.
You all hated him by the end, which was great.
Yeah, but like it was kind of like when it sort of the details came out, we were just like, oh right, he's like. We got no sympathy for this guy, kind of thing, as opposed to him being this like mustache twirling sort of, haha, you've infiltrated my castle. He was just like, who the fuck are you people, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just the Tale of Strahd, from my mind, was better as this courageous hero who, he started out in a very Macbeth way, as I said, with this courageous hero who. Was a leader of armies who was easily manipulated by this dragon, and then he basically just lost his way and became this. Just became sort of fell inwards and lost all this like grand and mighty side, and just became this withdrawn wreck. Compared to the book, which was literally just every time you do anything, Strahd shows up and says, "I am the best thing in this place." And
which can get, and like you say, it's a bit cheesy, especially in the context of the kind of the style of the campaign that we were running as well.
Yeah, and I also feel that everyone's heard Curse of Strahd 100 times. Everyone's heard Out of the Abyss hundreds of times. And if you want to go and, I mean, as I said when we did the start of Curses, like if you want to hear this done properly, there are. This channel, that channel, this channel, that channel. They will run it very faithful to the book, and it'll be exactly what you want to hear. If you want to hear it spun differently, told differently, everything's a bit weird and different, come listen to us, we'll do something different.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing with Abyss as well, which is, we cut a lot out of the book. That's one way of putting it.
So coming soon then on Abyss, that's in a couple of weeks' time. People got that to look forward to. Let's bring this to a close then, I think, because we've kind of covered a lot of stuff, I think. So, how would you pitch the show then to somebody who hasn't sort of hasn't listened before and sort of, you know?
How would we, do you mean which show do you want me to pitch?
Well, Penance in general, I think, just as sort of like, Penance hey, come listen to us, sort of. This is a long-winded way of saying, like, let's do some final plugs, but at the same time, kind of in a more sort of general way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure. Regarding Plummet, first of all, I would say if you want something that's sort of fairly decent speed, D&D, you get good storytelling, good characters, good environment, and they tell a sort of anarchic tale where characters there's an element of danger, there's this, the stories are always pretty good, there's an element of danger, and characters can literally just get killed, but in a good way. Plummet is just hack and slash adventure. It's just what you'd expect from almost like a cartoon.
Yeah, I could very much see an animated Plummet. You know?
Yeah, that's just what Plummet is. Plummet is this, just, yeah. Regarding Abyss is our second adaptation. It's going to be, as we did with Curse, it's D&D 5e at speed. At speed that keeps consistent. We cut out a lot of the, for want of a better word, faff. We cut out a lot of the sort of politics and appeasing factions and all this stuff. We just do away with all of that, and we just do it as, this is the tale of these people as they go through the story. And if you enjoyed our Curse of Strahd adaptation, which basically was the same kind of thing, where every town has certain stories and the characters will interact with the stories and they'll tell their own tale, Abyss is the same.
Yeah.
As I said, D&D pretty much at speed. And I think roughly we'll end up with Abyss being around 20, 25 episodes, I think. So it will tell the entire about the Abyss a lot faster than most places. Well.
Yeah. I would recommend people go back and listen to Curse as well, because there's some familiar voices on there, and we had a lot of fun doing it.
And I will say now that if you, this time, unlike Curse of Strahd, if you do want the DM notes for what I've done differently for Abyss rather than what the book says, we are going to do something through our Patreon. Where we release a new series where I basically talk about how we interact with what the players did and choices they made to what I had in my notes, and also what my notes are for the next episode. So if you want to know how I did it and why I did it and what I'm planning to do every episode, we are going to release them through our Patreon. They're not going to be high tier. I think they're going to be like the $3 tier or something like that. I've not looked at it properly yet, but it's going to be something like that. But
little bonus episodes, behind the scene peeks.
Yeah, it's kind of a bonus episode behind the scene. You won't need it to enjoy Abyss. I mean, it's literally just if you want to know what my notes were for doing things, then that would be a sort of bonus thing, and it would help us a lot as well, because at the moment we could really do with sort of driving a little bit more support, so we can maybe get one or two people in to help us with the editing and stuff like that. So it's not for bad gain. It's literally just to try and get us some help for a bit. So that would be great. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, yes. Thanks a lot for joining me for this. What could generously be called an interview.
This ramble. Yeah.
It's a rambling casual chat. We've had a lot of these chats over the last year or so, haven't we? So this is, I feel like
I probably rambled far too much, so apologies.
Yeah, that's all good. Okay, thanks so much for joining me, man. Listeners, we'll be back next week, Thursday the 14th, I believe. Yeah, because this is going up on the 7th. We record in advance, and I am not with it. This is going up on the 7th, so next week, Thursday the 14th of March, join us for part 5 of our Call of Cthulhu storyline. In the meantime, you can get in touch with us on Twitter and Facebook, both of which we're at Pretend With Dice, or you can email us at pretendingwithdice@outlook.com. Also, head on over to iTunes or, wherever you get your podcast from. It'd be really great to leave us a rating and review, because we just want to hear what you think about the podcast and all that good stuff. For now,
I should probably have done that kind of plug as well, shouldn't I?
Oh yeah, no, go ahead, do it now, go for it.
You can find us at Penance RPG pretty much anywhere, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of jazz. Come talk to us, we're really friendly. New episodes go out every Sunday. Abyss will start on Wednesday, so it'll be Wednesday, Sunday releases from around the 20th, maybe the 27th of March, depending if we can get everything spinning by then. But yeah, come check us out there.
Awesome, cool. Okay, so we'll see you all later. Thanks for listening.
Bye bye.